Hello and welcome to Young Guns. Today we're going to talk about the final college football playoff rankings and our own versions of the final college football playoff rankings and give you a little bit of a taste of our reactions. So make sure you go pull the soup off the stove and put that sucker in a bowl and sip on that and sit back and enjoy. All right, gentlemen, how are we doing tonight?
Doing good.
Just keeping awake with this little thing because we'll be rocking around the clock.
Rocking around the Christmas tree. Oh, wait, that's something else.
Yep.
All right, so the rankings for 25 to 21 from the committee is the UTSA Roadrunners at 25, the Troy Trojans at 24, NC State at 23, Mississippi State at 22, and the committee has essentially said, well, sorry, because Notre Dame is right at the bottom, where they deserve to be. So, does anybody have any comments on the committee's 25 to 21?
Well, I can just say I like the fact they gave UTSA and Troy some love and put them in the top 25. I mean, even though, they're lower tier teams from the group of five, I mean, they've had great seasons. So I'm glad that they are in the top 25. And I don't really have a problem with the other three at all. I mean, Mississippi State 8-4. They won their last game. That's why they're in instead of Ole Miss. And Notre Dame, they have the quality win over Clemson that will definitely point out why they should be higher than 21 for that. And NC State, I mean, they got the win over Carolina at the end, so I don't really have any issues with it.
Anyone else?
Well, for me, I don't know. In my rankings, I gave a little more love to the group of five teams that had good seasons, just because I feel like those teams. I mean, I don't know. This is just my clarification. I feel like those teams had would probably beat. They usually beat the NC States and the Mississippi States, so I usually gave a little more love for them. And also, some of them also had nice wins. And I don't know. I feel like NC State they did beat Florida State. But I feel like Mississippi State doesn't have really any quality wins. I mean, Ole Miss is a decent team. What's up, TF? TF in the chat. But yeah, I don't really think that Mississippi State should be ranked that high. I just don't really think
they're traveling fools. How are you, man?
Mm-hmm. What's up, traveling fools? All right. So now.
Does Will have Notre Dame at 10 this week? Only time will tell.
We'll see.
Jeffrey has Troy at 25, the Roadrunners at 24, NC State at 23, Mississippi State at 22, and the Texas, we're back, baby, Longhorn at 21. Jeffrey, please explain yourself of why that cruddy team is at 21, please.
Well, first I will say I got UTSA over Troy because I feel, they have a better overall resume with what they've done. Troy's had a great season as well, but they have a lot of close wins, low-scoring wins. UTSA, they're capable of putting up a lot of points. Obviously, their defense struggles at times. But they played well against Houston, only losing by 2, and they were competitive against that I'm back team in Texas. So UTSA, I mean, I just feel they're slightly more deserving than Troy. That's why I have them 24 instead of the committee having UTSA at 25. NC State, Mississippi State, I'm keeping them in the same spot. I agree with both those spots. But I do have Texas at 21. I know you said they're a cruddy team. They're not back, but they are back in the top 25, so at least they're better than they've been in the past. So Texas, I mean, you got a lot of talent. You got to do better, but you've done enough to be 21 for me.
That makes sense. Anybody have any questions for Jeffrey?
Question I have for Jeffrey is, why is Texas ranked higher than Mississippi State and NC State in your opinion? What in your opinion, makes them a better team?
Well, I mean, that's a good question. I mean, you could probably put Mississippi State over Texas, but I mean, Texas, the probably you could say the biggest reason is that they were more competitive against Alabama, even though it was at home and Mississippi State was at Alabama. But Texas, I mean, they've had good games. They blew Kansas out. I mean, they've played well. It's just they've had a few duds, but Mississippi State's had a few duds as well. You could definitely make an argument Mississippi State should be higher, but I put Texas at 21.
Why do you feel NC State deserves the 23 spot? Because I feel like, in my opinion, UTSA and Troy deserve to be in front of NC State.
Well, I mean, I could have put UTSA and Troy higher, but I mean, at the end of the day, unfortunately, the group of five just doesn't have the resume. I mean, if they were playing in a power league, could they win as many games as NC State has done this year? I mean, you look at what they've done, you're like, hey, they're 10-2 or whatever. But if they were in the ACC, would they be 8-4 or 7-5, and they wouldn't be ranked? So I don't know. It's a tough argument. I could definitely see why they'd be higher, but the committee didn't rank them higher, so I just left them at the bottom. I'm just glad they're ranked at all because I didn't even know if they would be.
True. At least they're getting some love.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, Jackson.
Ooh.
Jackson has Troy at 25, Roadrunners at 24, Wolfpack at 23, Ole Miss at 22. That's interesting. And the Ookla Bruins at 21. And for everybody watching, I do apologize for the cruddy way that the Ole Miss logo is on there. I had some trouble finding some logos, including Ole Miss, to where it didn't have the white box. So, Jackson, please explain.
I think it would be easier to find a transparent Ole Miss than a transparent UTSA.
Well,
it's not, because I looked for like 10 minutes.
That's insane.
Maybe I should have shown a little more respect to Troy, but clearly I wasn't awake. But I did consider one reason why I should have Ole Miss ahead of Troy. Head-to-head wins, baby. From September 3rd of 2022 against Troy.
Why do you feel So does the Mississippi State loss not hinder much for you?
Well, you'll see where Mississippi State is in my next set of rankings because I got them a little bit ahead.
So basically they just fall at 22 because of where you had them going into rivalry week.
Right.
Okay. And then what about your UCLA?
UCLA.
Same thing basically, or?
Yeah. Well, I kind of almost wanted to throw them out in the top 25, but I was just like, no, I'm not going to do that. They've been a good team this year. They still have that big win over the Pac-12 champ, Utah. So, they've looked really good this year. But Troy, man, I've been really impressed with them. Going from 1-2 to 11-2, winning the Sun Belt. After that Hail Mary loss to Appalachian State, they're like, we're not getting humiliated again in front of College Game Day. So, and congrats to John Summerall. And I'd like to say congratulations to Texas San Antonio in their final year of the Conference USA. And Ole Miss, sorry that the rest of the year didn't work out for you, but at least you're in the top 25. Well, in my top 25. And congrats to NC State for bringing out that big win against NC. And UCLA, sorry that everything didn't work out for you.
What's up, One Scoop John?
What
Thanks, One Scoop
Johnny?
John. It was a tough pick, man, but it just a little bit of instinct, I guess. I don't know. Maybe a little luck.
What can I say? We're pretty smart.
Just trying to be humble, man.
I know, I'm kidding. It's all luck when it comes to the pick 'em.
Yeah.
It's all luck. All right, so you boys got any questions for Jackson?
Why UCLA so low, Jackson?
Yeah, I was gonna ask, but I was like, I
That
understand what
loss
he's
to you,
doing.
that loss to Arizona still is lingering in my mind. Is why UCLA is so low.
Even after
You
they've
lost
been
them
picked.
in your home field. I mean, Arizona turned it around. I'll give them that, but Arizona's not bowl eligible, so
Yeah.
sorry.
I mean, UCLA doesn't have much of a home field advantage, though. So is it really
Well,
a home game?
Yeah, but still, you lost to an Arizona.
And they were looking ahead to USC, the rivalry game.
Yeah, they were looking ahead, man, but you can't look ahead. You gotta beat them, man.
Yeah.
You gotta beat them.
Yep, the fighting chip kills. Yep, they most
And,
certainly are.
and why is Ole Miss ranked? And I'm assuming Mississippi State's not. They might be. They might be.
Just look at my net set.
All
Which-
right.
Because they're ahead of them, not to worry.
Okay.
All right.
Why have Ole Miss ahead of Troy? That head-to-head win.
Yeah.
All right.
Any more questions?
I think I'm good.
Yeah.
Thank you for asking.
Now, on to Austin's, which we're going to have to guesstimate here. That's okay.
Mhm.
So Austin has
He has to make room for another 10 SEC
State.
teams.
Mississippi State at 25, NC State at 24, the UTSA Roadrunners. Meep.
Road runner.
3,
Oh, he's after you. Road runner.
Troy at 22, and the LSU cruddy, crappy, we are fake good LSU Tigers.
I was going to say Ellis who? Ellis who? I can't hear Ellis who? Ellis who?
You can only hear him in Death Valley. That's where you can hear him.
Now, I will
can't
say, this is perfect. Besides LSU being at 21, they should just be. This is perfect. This is how it should be, in my
That's pretty
opinion.
good.
Now, Mr. Will.
I mixed it up a bit.
Will, South Alabama,
Ooh,
Cincinnati at 24,
look at that
UCF
Bearcat.
at 23, Roadrunners at 22, and Detroit Trojans at 21. Actually, my
This
opinion,
is the group of
this.
5 tier here, man.
Yeah, this is my group of 5 tier. So the reason I have South Alabama in
Kane Womack.
is they're 10-2, and their 2 losses are to UCLA at UCLA 32-31, and their other loss is to Troy, which kept them out of the conference championship game 10-6. And they've won pretty convincingly. I mean, there's some close games in there, but they totally ran the table in all of them, and they have a really good offense. And I think Kane Womack in his first, and it's just his first 2 seasons, has completely turned South Alabama into one of the best teams in the Sun Belt. They're going to be a power in the Sun Belt these upcoming years. So, and they're taking on Western Kentucky in the New Orleans Bowl, and that's going to be fun with how much Western Kentucky throws around the ball.
I'll be
and with how
polling
many
for him.
points that South Alabama scores. So that's
Well.
why I have the Jaguars at number 25. And for Cincinnati at 24, 9-3, a little disappointing, especially, but their 3 losses are their first loss to Arkansas, which looks like a good loss. They only lost by 7, but Arkansas kind of fell apart at the end. It was that missed field goal against Texas A&M, and then they kind of fell apart. So that's probably their worst loss. And then their other 2 losses are to UCF and Tulane, which are ranked higher. than the Bearcats. So, and they ran the table in their other games, won the games that they should. So disappointing year for Cincinnati, but I still think they're a very formidable team in the American. And then I have UCF ranked ahead of Cincinnati because of the head-to-head. And they also beat Tulane, although the Green Wave did get their revenge in the bowl. Although they do have a couple puzzling losses in there to Louisville, East Carolina, and Navy. But overall, it was a great year for the Knights. And John Rice Plumlee is just one of the best quarterbacks that people don't talk about enough. So, yeah, I'm a fan of him, and I'm a fan of what ECF's done this season. And then at 22, I have the Roadrunners. Beep, beep. And they had a couple puzzling losses to Houston, Texas, which I feel like they would win those games if they played them back again, just the way that they've been playing since then, as they've just ran the table in the Conference USA and won the conference. So, yeah, just from a 1-2 start to a 10-2 season, the Roadrunners are going places. And at just ranked ahead of them at 21 is their curable opponent. I'm really excited for this game. The Troy Trojans, who, yes, did lose to Ole Miss and lost a fluky game to App State. But after that, they ran the table to go 10-2 on the year. And they pretty much blew out Coastal, which looked like the best team in the Sun Belt for most of the year. So, very impressive season for Troy.
Bet the Roadrunners would beat any team named the Coyotes. Well, if the Coyote catches you, you're through, man.
Mm-hmm.
Will, love that you love the state of Alabama.
I will say I'm glad you had South Alabama at 25. Kane Womack's done a great job, man, because he was the Indiana defensive coordinator. Unfortunately, it shows you how good coordinators are. Kalen DeBoer and Kane Womack. Why'd you let him go, Indiana? Why'd you let him go? But South Alabama's had a good season, so I like that you put them in there. They're deserving. I like all this. I mean, I would have ranked all these teams, but I mean, it's so hard to put them in there. It's so hard to put the group of five in there because you got all those Power 5 teams taking up all the space. But I'm glad you had a tier for the group of five. I think it's really cool.
Maybe they could get Kane Womack back if they let Tom Allen go in the next couple of years.
Maybe that would be a good hire. Who knows, man? They're not getting Kalen DeBoer.
Yeah.
I will say, after doing this, I give the committee 100% props. Even though, yes, we as fans disagree in certain areas with them majority of the time, this has been the hardest thing I've ever done. Like, this is harder to me personally than like graphics homework or like some, extremely hard math homework, because it's like, how do you determine who goes where and such? So, my turn. Please don't roast me.
I won't.
Troy, Mississippi State at 24, Roadrunners at 23, NC State at 22, Notre Dame at 21.
Perfect.
Too low, man. I'm disappointed, man. Come on.
Too low. You're 8-4. You don't even deserve to be higher than 20. So too low. Come on.
You're not even deserving to be higher than 20. That's why they're 21.
Now, I was having a hard time between here and here and here, because I thought maybe the Roadrunners should go 22, Troy over to 23. But then, I mean, NC State would only have to go to 24. But then it's like, who do you put at 25? So. Any questions?
I
No.
like it. I mean, I basically can pretty much agree with everything that you did, except I was a little bit more favorable to Notre Dame than you, just a hair. And we'll get to my 16 through 20. So
Okay. Committee, Notre Dame at 19, South Carolina 20, South Carolina at 19. Okay, this is weird. UCLA at 17, LSU at 18, Tulane at 16. Must have been the way I made them appear in the thing.
That playoff committee is not showing any love to Tulane, man. Did they watch the Tulane Kansas State game? Come on.
it was on ESPN Plus. That's why they missed it.
Well, everybody's got at least $4.99 a month, right?
At least one committee member has to watch it. Has to have it, man.
All right. Jeffries 20. The boo-hoo crying Texas Longhorns.
What? Wait a minute. I had Texas at 21. I had Notre Dame at 20.
Oh, Jesus. Did I screw it up?
I had Notre
It's
Dame
okay.
at 20. Remember, the Horns were 21. You're good, man. You're good.
Ah, Jesus.
You're
I'm
good,
tired,
dude.
man. South Carolina at 19, UCLA at 18, LSU at 17, Tulane at 16.
Yeah. Besides the Texas being at number 20, you've done fantastic, man. So no problem there. Notre Dame, I had at 20. Notre Dame, I basically agree with the committee. I mean, Notre Dame has 4 losses. They just unfortunately cannot be higher than that. I put
I'm
them
disturbed I'm just disturbed, Jeffrey, that you have LSU higher than Notre Dame because they both have 4 losses.
You talking about LSU
Yeah,
or
I'm
LSU?
disturbed.
As Jackson said.
LSU, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, they have an extra game though. They're 9-4. Notre Dame's 8-4. You
I
know,
disapprove of where you put Tulane. You should have put them in your top 15.
unfortunately, there's a lot of teams, man. But yeah. So Notre Dame at 20. They can't be any higher. South Carolina at 19. They have some decent wins. They've struggled in certain games, but they have some good wins. So that's why they're 19. UCLA, I know Jackson wants UCLA lower, not even in the top 25. But I mean, they played really solid most of the season except the Arizona game. LSU is at 17, and I mean,
LSU?
They have the Alabama win. I mean, I know outside of that, you just kind of iffy, but they're 9-4 in the SEC, so number 17. And Tulane at 16. Yes, Tulane probably should be higher, but they're gonna make the New Year's Day game anyway. So I mean, it doesn't matter where they're ranked. They definitely deserve to be in the top 25 for sure. They've had a great season, so I got them at number 16.
I can't get over how you have LSU higher than Notre Dame. It hurts me so much.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, man.
Time to join a conference.
Okay,
Oh my gosh.
agrees
I'm
with
gonna
me.
throw up. I'm gonna throw up with that message, Keith Ice. I'm gonna throw up.
Don't do it on air, man. Don't do it on air.
No, don't do it, man.
Anybody have any questions for my Notre Dame through Tulane?
Where's your love for Tulane?
I have another Notre Dame question.
Hmm?
I have another Notre Dame question for you, Jeffrey.
Oh, God. Okay.
So we beat South Carolina 35-14. And South Carolina, we beat Clemson 35-14. And South Carolina only beat Clemson 31-30. So, is there a reason why? I don't get why you have South Carolina. I know it's only
Well,
one spot.
Because it's
Here's
South
the thing.
Carolina and they suck.
Here's the thing. number 1 with Notre Dame. They beat Clemson at home. South Carolina beat them at Clemson.
Yeah,
The other thing is South Carolina beat Tennessee. I don't think Notre Dame has another great win like that. And I mean, they did beat North Carolina, but that's dropped. That doesn't look as good anymore. So South Carolina has to be over Notre Dame.
And
yes, Marshall. Yes.
Zephus makes a good point with Marshall, but here's a funny one from Edward.
That's not funny, Edward. That's just a lie. It's not funny. It's just not true. Okay.
We don't know if it's true yet or not. Because here's the thing: what if Freeman somehow magically pulls a rabbit out of his hat, and I pray to God they never do, but Notre Dame wins a national championship? I would assume that would make Marcus Freeman better than Kelly.
So I think that Brian Kelly is having he's going to be like Butch Jones in the SEC. You know, Butch Jones had 2 good seasons with Tennessee. He might have another good season with LSU, but it's going to fall off a bit afterwards. Like he'll go 7-6 in 2024, and then 4-8 in 2025, and then he'll be out of the Bayou.
Ooh.
Any more questions for my rankings?
Nope. All right.
Sounds good.
Oh, Jesus. What is going on with this thing? Okay, Jackson has Texas at 20, Mississippi State at 19, Notre Dame at 18. That is a disgrace. That's way too high.
I would have liked him a little higher, but that's okay.
How are they over Mississippi State, man, if you got Mississippi State at 19? Like, Mississippi State, I agree having them lower, but if you got Mississippi State at 19, there's just no way you can have Notre Dame higher.
Well, it's easy. They beat the ACC champ. They beat 2 of the best teams in the ACC.
Troy, that's just a flat-out lie, man. You see the recruits that Marcus is bringing in and the recruits that Kelly's bringing in? Like, Notre Dame I think will definitely be ranked higher than LSU.
And Notre Dame, South Carolina are going to get the play for a shot to have a higher ranking than Clemson, at least with me. Brian Kelly ain't winning no natty. One Skip John says. Yeah, right now I don't see him winning the natty anytime soon. He might win 3 Citrus Bowls in a row, but that's it so far. I don't see him winning a New Year's Six Bowl right now. Edward says Kelly probably won't win the SEC ever.
Yeah, that's about right.
That makes sense.
If Jimbo can give up his ego, which he's
I
shown
don't see happening,
his ego, then A&M's got a shot.
I mean, we're number 3 in the country in recruiting, Troy.
I was going to let you know, too, I had LSU at number 18 and UCLA at 17 as well. So just for clarification, I had LSU at 18.
Okay, Mike, this looks really good. It's not a big deal.
You're good, man. I thought I had LSU lower because everybody's giving me flack, but I had them at 18. I had UCLA at 17.
Sorry, guys.
You're good.
It's okay. Don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. It looks good the way it is.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm still impressed with those last 2 games South Carolina had, so that's why I have them at 16.
It's also the toughest division. That's why, and LSU is so impatient, or not patient enough. They want to get rid of, any coach. So that's the tough part. But if you can get it rolling at LSU, then you're good. But if you, as Will points out, you can get fired really quick down there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's like Auburn.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Okay, if this is correct, Texas at 20, Notre Dame at 19, South Carolina at 18, UCLA 17, Tulane at 16.
See, he had him at 16 too.
So Austin hasn't watched any bit of Tulane this year.
They're really good. I mean, unfortunately, you got to skew the group of 5 a bit lower
Yeah.
because what if they were in a better league? They would not be
True.
they would not have the record that they have right now if
But
they were in
these
the
guys
SEC.
went from worst to first, and they've had very impressive wins this year.
Oh, I agree with you. I will say one more time because I've said it before, so we can move on. But I will say though that again, even though they were 2-10 last year and they deserve all the credit that they have been given for turning it around, again, they were a good team last year. They almost beat Oklahoma, but then a hurricane happened and about 1 billion injuries happened to their team. So if Tulane hadn't had all those injuries, they probably go 7-5 last year. So it wouldn't have been as good of a turnaround. That's just my opinion though.
True. Wins the title for Smith's uniform. Yeah,
I don't know. Oregon's got to run for them.
I like UCLA's. I've always liked UCLA's.
UCLA is so basic, like Ohio State. And
I know, but it's just so smooth. The gold and the baby.
Notre Dame is almost the best state report. Well, we're
Texas A&M is the best 5-7 team though.
Well,
I'm triggered. I'm just triggered. I'm
South
triggered.
Carolina.
You know, I'm triggered. I'm going.
No, Will, no.
I'm just, if you're triggered, I'm just gonna leave this here.
No, I know. I'm not.
Hey,
I'm
I'll
just
tell you
kidding.
this.
I'm
We're
just
going to
kidding.
find out in the Gator Bowl, so it's going to be pretty fun.
Oh my God. LSU at 20, South Carolina at 19, Notre Dame at 18, UCLA at 17, Florida State at 16.
I'm
These
surprised
are
you don't
what-
have Notre Dame higher.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Again, this makes me want to puke.
What part of it?
The fact that this is right here, it should be at least 7 spots lower.
Oh my gosh, fuck! I'm like.
I'm kidding,
He's
man.
pointing at Notre Dame, man. The pointer's so small you can barely see it, but it's there.
The what?
The pointer, you got your little pointer circling at Notre Dame. He's like, which one are you talking about? Oh, man.
Well, I don't know. I try to be more honest this week just to make it look more official, but
LSU and Notre Dame should just be tied. No, LSU should actually be above Notre Dame because they actually did play for a conference title.
And they have a one more win.
And one more win.
9-4.
I feel like the SEC West was just so weak this year. I mean, I felt like Notre Dame would have won the SEC West this year. I feel like we would have had a great chance about winning the SEC West this year.
Dude,
Repeat that again.
I think we would have had a great chance of winning the SEC West this year.
A chance.
Say that one
Slight
more
chance.
time, Will. Say
I
that
think
one more
Notre
time.
Dame this year would have had a great chance of winning the SEC West this year.
Slight chance. I'll give you a slight
Because
chance.
you look at how undisciplined Bama was. Like, they kept just, especially on the road, like, I feel like we would have had a good chance of winning because of all the penalties that they had. I feel like we would have been able to move the ball better and score with Alabama. Because Texas A&M almost beat Alabama.
Dude, what
With the backup quarterback.
Will, what did you put in your pipe, man? You're whiffing some heavy stuff there,
Edward
man.
says Will is drunk though, so
I'm
don't
not
know.
drunk. If Texas A&M almost did it, we could have done it.
Here's the thing, Edward. LSU did do it, yes, by the skin of their teeth. But if Notre Dame would have done it, it would have been the same way.
Marshall will, Stanford will.
Those would have been out of conference games. We would have still had that one have affected our
Well,
SEC
the SEC
record.
West doesn't have Stanford and Marshall, so Notre Dame might have had a shot there.
Ooh.
Me.
You giving it away, man.
Well, he wants to know which one of us young nuts has the
cojones.
So.
All right, so enough. Is that enough craziness for Will?
I think I'm good. I am a bit surprised Florida State is so low. But besides that, I'm good.
I know, me too. All right. Hopefully I did mine right.
All right.
Okay. 20, Texas. 19, South Carolina. 18, UCLA. 17, LSU. 16, Tulane.
So see, me and you basically had it the exact same because I had I had UCLA ahead. You have LSU ahead. I'm getting confused by what was shown on the screen. But yes, I had UCLA ahead. So me and you are the same except for that. Okay.
I know. I'm
agree with you.
sorry. I screwed it up.
You're good. I agree. I agree with you on everything you got there. Pretty much. I can see LSU ahead of UCLA, but
The only thing is, like, again, when I was saying this is just hard in general to do. Like, I wanted to have Tulane higher as a group of 5 representative, but it's like, the committee itself already said, USC's loss was bad, but they only dropped them 6.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I have no comment. All right. The committee at 15 to 11. Oregon at 15. The Beavs at 14. Florida State at 13. The Huskies at 12. The Nittany Lash at 11.
Wow.
I don't know, maybe 14, 13. I don't know. I mean, overall, Tulane is a good team. All right. Oh, my God. Oregon 15, Beavs at 14, Florida State at 13, Huskies at 12, Trojans at 11 for Jeffrey.
Okay, I know that this is pretty generic considering that it's exactly what the committee did, except for
I'm
USC.
bored, Jeffrey. Come on, man.
But I mean,
we're getting more viewers.
I don't have any problem with this. Oregon State deserves to be over Oregon. So I mean the head to head, which I'm not a head to head guy, but Oregon State's been solid all season. So that I got them over Oregon. Florida State again, they're playing really well right now. Like a little bit recency bias, a little bit, but they're playing great. So 13's fine with me. I don't see them being any higher, any lower. Washington at 12. I had them higher last week, but all the movement that happened, so I had to move them down, unfortunately, because there was just so much movement all over the place from other results that they moved down. And USC at 11, that loss was ugly. That I moved them out of the top 10.
I was going to say, what for you makes them drop 7, whereas the committee drops them 6?
Well, I mean, the loss was awful. I mean, granted, Caleb Williams was banged up, but the defense was so bad. I mean, no top 10 team can have that bad of a defense. I mean, I don't ever want to say lack of effort because it just, makes me almost not feel bad, but I just don't like saying that a team has lack of effort on defense. But that defense didn't even look like they were trying half the time. I mean, they had easy tackles and they just let the players go. They would not get them to the ground. The defense was so bad that just for me, they could not be in the top 10. That was awful.
Real quick, do any of you guys know the answer to this?
Tulane's ranked 16th in the CFP rankings.
Right. I think he means location. Like
New Orleans.
Yeah.
Louisiana.
I knew that. New Orleans, Louisiana.
Yeah, they're the best team in the state this year.
Yulman Stadium.
Ooh.
Yeah, they probably would have got shellackled.
Dude.
All right. Jackson's. Oh, my God. Oregon at 15. Clemson.
What?
This is interesting.
Oh, you talking about this?
Yeah, no. What's up with number 12 there?
Oh,
Yeah.
this.
They're not playoff team material, man. You can't be bragging about who you lost to, first of all. And
Number 12?
your penalties per game, man, it's just you can't be having a bunch of penalties and expect to make it to the playoffs. That goes for Tennessee too. They've been very undid. It was going to catch up to them, and it did against Georgia, and it caught up to them against SC. Bama, man, they've gotten lucky all year, and
You're good, Connor Johnson. I mean, I didn't really take it that way.
Yeah, I didn't either.
But Clemson, you won the ACC, so okay.
I don't know what to say. This is just so off, man. Like, I don't even know. I mean,
well, part of it was
Alabama with 3 losses would not be ranked 12th in the committee.
Well, I'm not the committee.
I know,
they're
man.
not. So,
Gonzaga's in Spokane, Washington.
No, I think he means like where in the rankings as a joke. If not, then yeah, they're in Washington. Spokane, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, if they're not ranked, man.
But like Alabama doesn't really have that. I mean, their biggest wins are Ole Miss, Texas, Mississippi State. They're all 8-win teams. Texas, Ole Miss collapsed it after they lost to Bama because Lane Kiffin's thinking about, do I want to go to Auburn? Do I want to stay at Ole Miss?
He thought about the tarmac, man.
And Tennessee, they collapsed after they beat Bama. And, that defense is just awful. Tennessee's
They used to.
See, Gerald was asking location, man. See? Spokane, Washington.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Tennessee was going to be my biggest question. So I assume that here your biggest thing is head-to-head?
Yes, I had Tennessee ahead of Bama head-to-head.
Only reason that I feel Tennessee should be lower is because of the fact that their loss to South Carolina is worse than any loss Alabama suffered. So,
well, with Bama, LSU has not been so hot since they beat Bama. So,
it's a good point.
I mean, you can't be losing the Desmond Howard's national champs and just expect me.
Even though they're the best 5-7 team, it's still not that good of a compliment, to lose to them by 15.
Yeah.
Okay, guys.
Oh, man.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Well, Connor Johnson, you'll be very happy to see where I put Oregon State.
I still don't see how Alabama's at number 12.
I love my Crimson Tide, but you can't be biased.
I'm not biased at all, man. That's funny.
And here is Austin's.
Shocked that Austin put the Beavs behind the Ducks.
Why did Austin have Oregon? Does head-to-head not matter? Does that fourth quarter comeback not matter to you, Austin? I got some questions there, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
I wish he was here to answer your questions.
I know. I hope his internet's all right where he's at.
All right. Just so it's on record, Austin has Florida State at 15, the smaller brother OSU at 14, the Tater Tots at 13, the Quack Quacks at 12, and the Roaring Mighty Lions at 11.
Jackson has that Ricky Bobby logic. If you ain't first, you're last.
All right. Will has Oregon at 15, the little brother Beavers OSU at 14, the Husky Dogs at 13, the Fighting Green Waves at 12, which makes the most sense. And what I meant about where to put them higher, that's about right.
Ooh.
Penn State at 11.
I love where you have Tulane, Will. You got them higher than I got. So you watched Tulane this year. I'm impressed.
Dude, I watched like 7 of their games, man. I just ranked them 16, man.
Well, you ain't first, you're last. That's true.
You ain't first, you're last. Them lions are toothless.
Well, the logo doesn't have a tooth, so I agree.
Maybe Louisville stole their teeth.
Yeah. Just don't ask those lions what they're doing in the locker room.
So,
yeah, the logo kind of looks like Nala from The Lion King. come to think of it.
Our logo has a tooth.
any questions for Will, aka why in the world is Tulane at 12?
I mean, it's a little high. I know that if you had the 12-team playoff, they'd be 12th, but they're not 12th. You know, they have to be 12th in the rankings if, you know, in that scenario. But I there's just it's hard to compare Group of 5 to Power 5 because they don't play a Power 5 schedule. That's the toughest thing for me to have them that high. But I'm glad you do, but it's just tough.
Yeah, that Kansas State win just really shows that they belong in the Power 5.
But I do question what if they played K-State now. Would they win? That's a tough one because K-State's playing better than they were then.
It
So
might
it's
be close. But yes, it is interesting.
Will, I like that you considered the head-to-head results that Washington, where they beat Oregon State on that Friday night, and where they beat
Oregon State should have won that game, but a win's a win.
But I just kind of wish you had him higher a little bit. But because I mean, after all, Michael Penix leads the nation in passing yards, and he got passed over for the Heisman. That's just wrong.
How did Stetson get in? I don't understand how Stetson got in.
I know, right?
Plays for the number 1 team. You realize, and I don't want to go into detail about this because I either want to make a Heisman video or we need to have a Heisman pick'em stream. But you realize it's because 1, he plays for the number 1 team in the country. 2, that team's in the playoff. Because if you go back to 97 and go from 97 to now, there's only I think 3 people that won the Heisman that didn't play either in the playoff or for the national championship.
Right. But yeah, it's well, that's a question for you to answer, Will.
There you go, Will. Why are you putting Tulane over all these specific Pacific schools?
Well, I mean, they're all good. They're all good competition, but like with Tulane, just what I saw, just how dominant they were over just how good they looked over UCF. I feel like they gotta be put just a little higher than the Huskies, the Beavs, and the Ducks. But it was close for me. Trust me, it was close.
Okay, I know we still have a little ways to go, but this has to be comment of the night.
I'll give it a star.
That 40-year-old man got in over Bijan, Drake, and the hooker. So sad.
40-year-old man. Okay. I'm nervous because I don't want any of mine exposed.
Woo! Look at it, man.
All right. And I didn't do that on purpose either. 15, the quackity quack quack. Quack your heads off. We got a billion uniforms to choose from every week. Oregon Ducks. The Beavs. Much love, little brother. At 13, Florida State at 12, Washington, the Husky Bears. At 14, the female Lions with their tails between their legs at 11.
Look at this one.
Punny pun.
No pun intended. Stetson Bennett got the Bama Georgia treatment.
Blake
No.
Corum missing the Ohio State game really hurt.
Yeah.
We didn't get robbed. It's the same reason why, to Jeffrey's point, because he's the one that told me, so I don't want to take the credit. But to Jeffrey's point, it's the same reason that Bryce Young is not invited, because he missed a game.
And technically a half.
Mm-hmm. And so did Blake Corum. Well,
Yep.
actually, he missed 2.5.
Mm-hmm. Stinks.
But any questions?
I mean, I'm kind of shocked Washington's so low. I mean, obviously they got the Arizona State loss, but I'm kind of shocked they're that low because they only have 2 losses and everyone else on here, you know, Penn State's got 2 as well. But I'm shocked Washington's so low.
I mean, I have love for the Beavs. Maybe that's some of that coming through. And I really like Florida State, especially after I called the Florida State-Florida game. I love the Florida State quarterback.
Jordan Travis.
Yep. He's wonderful. And then Penn State at 11, just to kind of help Ohio State and Michigan's. I mean, I know it doesn't matter right now, but
Yeah. Well, I do have a question, Buckeye Mike.
okay.
Did you watch the Washington Oregon State game from November 4th of this year on week 10? Yeah, what you don't have Washington have Oregon State on the head to head. I'm curious.
Yeah, I just, other than like 1 through 5, maybe 1 through 10, my whole thing is out of whack because I was getting everybody's together all at the same time. And that's why it's like this team is shown when nobody should be shown. It's going here, down to here, over to here, up to here, and then here. This whole thing is just crazy. I don't know. I hate to say this, honestly, but other than like 1 through 10, I just kind of winged the whole thing. I wasn't – I needed something to be out there. But, yeah, I mean, Washington ahead of Oregon State does make sense with the head-to-head win. I give Oregon – honestly, in order to defend this, I give Oregon State a lot of credit and love after the Civil War win, the way they did it. But yes, to a degree, head-to-head should be looked at.
Oh, and I noticed that you really love what Florida State's done this year. Who's got them ahead at number 12?
Washington does not suck because Michael Penix is awesome. Who won on a last-second field goal at home?
Washington against Oregon State.
Oh.
A lot of Wayne State last-second field goals, man.
So, are we ready for the top 10?
All set.
All right. Committee says USC at 10, K-State at 9, Utah at 8, the Tater Tot Heads at 7, the Cruddy Vols at 6. We ready for the next one?
I mean, I could just say USC, man. They so terrible. Just knock them out. Knock them out of the top 10.
It's like if I had a wheel of cheese and I just went, it just crumbled the entire wheel of cheese. That's USC
Yeah,
in a nutshell.
if Clemson had started K Klubnik, I would have ranked them higher in my rankings all year. If they had done what they did with Kelly Bryant and Trevor Lawrence in 2018, I would have done just that. Have Clemson higher.
There's a good chance that Clemson would be in the playoff right now if Kate Klubnik played all season. There's a really good chance.
Yeah, I mean they wouldn't be us, but they probably would be.
They probably would have beaten you in overtime though.
Nah, not like 2015.
This is a good one too.
Mm-hmm.
What is tackling?
USC.
That's
What
a
is
good question?
tackling?
One scoop, John. That's one question. Good question.
Yeah.
Jeffrey has Penn State at 10, K-State at 9, Utes at 8, Tater Tot heads that need to go away for good at 7, the Vols at 6.
Again, I just the committee, man. These rankings are pretty fair. I almost put K-State at number 8, but then Austin would have been all after me for putting Utah too low like I did last week. So I gave Utah just as much love as the committee did, putting them at number 8 for their beatdown of USC, whereas K-State barely beat TCU. But you can argue K-State's wins better optically, but again, so I kept that the same. Clemson, I understand that, they probably don't deserve to be here, but again, what they did with Kate Klubnik, it suggests that they're this good. It's just, unfortunately, Dabo would not make the switch, and that's why they're not in the playoff, and that's why they have the 2 losses. And Tennessee, outside the South Carolina game, they've been really good this season, so I think they deserve to be at number 6. Penn State I have at 10 because, again, USC played so bad on defense that they don't deserve to be in the top 10, so I put Penn State at number 10 because even though they got blown out to Michigan – and they relatively kept it close against Ohio State until the very end. Penn State, they've played pretty well. They've been getting better as the season's gone along, so I just put them at number 10.
So, Jeffrey, why? I know they're going to play, but why did he put Tennessee ahead of Clemson?
Because Tennessee's been better most of the season. I mean, Clemson's been up and down. Part of that's due to DJ. But Tennessee's been more consistent throughout the season. They have better wins than Clemson. So I agree with the committee with putting them at number 6. Obviously, there's a good chance Clemson beats Tennessee in the bowl game because Kate Klubnik is going to play, and with Tennessee, Hendon Hooker cannot play. So there's a good chance that Clemson beats Tennessee. So you could say, well, I should put Clemson ahead. But for now, based on their body of work, Tennessee should be higher. But there's a good chance Clemson's going to beat them. But there's nothing Tennessee can do without having Hendon Hooker. It just is what it is. And I know Tennessee's defense is poor as well, but Clemson's offense has been bad as the whole season. But again, that's on Dabo for not putting in Kate Klubnik.
Clemson, Tennessee, perfect Orange Bowl matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Orange
Bowl.
The all Orange Bowl. We're either going to give it to a bunch of volunteers or a bunch of tater tot heads.
They should make like bowl games with like the blue bowl and the green bowl. I know it's orange for the fruit, but man, the yellow bowl.
The banana bowl.
Can we please use the Eastern Washington field for a bowl game? That's what we need to do.
That was a bad pick.
Okay. I mean, I understand that. I mean, it is what it is. You lost to South Carolina because Dabo threw for not Dabo, but DJ threw for 99 and Dabo wouldn't switch. I mean, it is what it is. I understand that point, but you do feel if Kate Klubnik played the whole season, they had a better chance to not have 2 losses.
Kind of like the Kelly Bryant thing in Trevor Lawrence in 2018. Once they started Trevor Lawrence, they went unbeaten and won it all.
Yep.
So something like that could happen if they started Club Nick.
All right. Oh my God. Jackson, Oregon State at 10, USC at 9, Washington at 8, Penn State at 7, Kansas State at 6.
A 3-loss team at number 6.
Well, they are, in his defense, they are the Big 12 champs.
And they beat one of the unbeatens, TCU.
I mean, I feel, I understand. I mean, I feel it. It's just interesting. I mean, that's high, but I understand.
There you go. And I had USC at 9 because I'm not kicking them out of the top 10, but the team they lost to twice, well, you'll see where they're ahead in a little bit.
I didn't make that point, but I agree, Edward. They stopped running the ball. They should have kept running the ball too. But still, you can't have a quarterback throwing for 99 yards. It is what it is. One more question. Penn State at 7. What has Penn State done to deserve to be at number 7?
They lost to 2 of the best teams in college football. Michigan.
Who they beat?
But that's the point I was going to say. Who have they beaten? That's the
Big
thing.
Ten West Division champ Purdue.
Besides that.
Not that mean.
Purdue should have won that game, man. I was mad after that.
Yeah, Payne Durham. That's still that catch. That should have been a catch, man. Payne Durham. But I mean, I can understand you having Penn State at 7. To me, they don't have anything on the resume. There's just nothing there.
Yeah.
Edward makes a good point.
There's nothing there.
Ranked wins. Well, that's true.
Purdue's an average team. They're average.
But I'm really pulling for them to beat LSU. Please beat LSU.
They clubbed Auburn, but that ain't saying much.
Yeah, that's true.
At Auburn.
Mm-hmm.
To see 5-7, the best 5-7 team in the country, man. That's Texas A&M, and LSU couldn't get it done.
That's true. That's true, John.
I like the purple.
There you go. Old purple, man.
So you're saying the USC loss was bad, but it wasn't bad enough to move them down anymore?
No. Well, I moved them down, but not enough to move them out of the top 10, at least to me. But I do have Washington ahead of them.
I mean, let me ask you a question, Jackson. I mean, not to go back down that rabbit hole earlier, but USC you have at number 9.
Right.
Alabama's at number 12.
Right.
Okay. Alabama's, I understand the close wins. They barely beat A&M, even though backup quarterback. But Alabama didn't lose like this.
Well,
like
no.
USC did. You know what I'm saying? I understand USC has the conference championship game and Alabama did not, but Alabama did not lose like this.
True.
USC got destroyed. That's why there's really no justification for
penalties
USC to be higher than Alabama. That makes sense.
The penalties. That's why I was kind of like, that's not playoff team material. You're in the 120s in playoffs in penalties per game. It's just not playoff material.
And the other thing is, so as I have said this before, yes, before the chat attacks me after I say this, I realize their record is 10-2. Alabama is at best a roughly 7-5 team masquerading as 10-2.
Yep.
Because you lost to Texas. Realistically, you lost. Yes, the scoreboard say you won, but you lost.
I agree with that 100%.
You almost lost to Texas A&M, and you almost lost to Ole Miss. And then, you had those losses to Tennessee and LSU. And all you got to brag about is, oh, we lost on the last play of the game. If that's your biggest defense as to why you should be in the playoff, you shouldn't be in the playoffs, period.
Oh, I agree with that. Like, I'm completely with you. That's why when Will that's why when Will and a lot of people were saying that Alabama was going to make the playoff, I said they were not. Alabama was not going to make the playoff. I knew they were not going to make the playoff, even though everybody was afraid that they were, because no one wanted Alabama in unless you're a diehard Alabama fan. Let's just be honest. No one wanted them in. I knew they weren't going to get in. But unfortunately, at the end of the day, even if Alabama is a 7-5 team masquerading as a 10-2 team, what they've done is still better than USC.
True.
It's better. Regardless, again, because the argument, they beat A&M, and
I'm gonna use this
without a starting quarterback, and then the Texas game, yes, they should have lost, but I mean, they almost beat Tennessee too. So, because you got to imagine, just say they lose to Texas but beat Tennessee, it's the same thing.
Well, I've considered.
I make an argument.
USC win over Oregon State got better for USC over the weeks.
That's
and
true,
USC
but you got to
also
imagine they only won by 3.
Right.
They also beat
Like-
UCLA, and those are both bigger with better wins than anything that Alabama has this
Yeah,
season.
that's why I was like,
John
that's the argument you
Jansen
can
makes a
use
great
there.
point. Alabama could be undefeated or be 7-5. They split the difference. They're 10-2, and unfortunately, the resume is still better than USC.
yeah. I mean,
Thank you. That was my point.
the UCLA wins, the Oregon State win, a little bit better than the, Texas A&M win, for example. Ole Miss, it was a little better than the Ole Miss win for me. And a little bit better than the Texas win.
And they beat down Mississippi State.
Yeah.
Beat them down. That was their best
To
game.
me, that's their
Bad year for Alabama, 10-2.
That's true. A lot of teams would love to go 10-2. No argument there.
All I'm saying is I respect your pick of Alabama being lower. I respect it, but unfortunately for me, there's no justification for because we can say ifs, but the ifs didn't happen. Alabama won the games. They lost the games that they did. It's not argumentative.
Yeah, but
USC's not higher than Alabama in any scenario. Obviously, besides a ranking that I could have put Alabama lower, just to, mess around. But at the end of the day, there's just no way that USC is ahead of Alabama. It's just not there.
Before we move on, I want to touch on this because this, I believe he did it because he didn't trust his punter or something. Like he didn't have any faith in his punter. So he went for it on 4th and 8.
It wasn't as dumb as Scott Frost going for an onside kick up 11 against Northwestern.
My gosh, I still forgot that. I forgot about that.
And still to this, and this year, Northwestern never won a game in the States this year.
Yeah, they're the king of Ireland. They're undefeated.
Kings of Dublin.
Since we're on the topic of USC, can anybody explain to me what kind of celebration this is? Like, really?
Is he like doing that because what's what he does to his girlfriend? I don't know what other.
Well, no, it was all the like.
Question for me: does Bama lose to USC? It would be a toss-up this year because
I would say if Alabama had Bryce Young, like if this was a bowl game and Alabama had Bryce Young, if this was a regular game, I would probably lean Alabama at home, maybe on a neutral. If it was at USC, I'd maybe lean Trojans. Maybe.
I would say it would be a 1-2 point win for either or. That it's kind of a toss-up for me because like USC's defense is just terrible.
And see, Bryce Young would light that up. Light that
exactly. Up. And also, you got the penalties per game for Bama.
USC would have to have a healthy Caleb Williams. Like right now, if they were playing a game with Caleb Williams not being able to play at his level and Alabama played him, Alabama would win.
Yeah.
You have to have healthy
also,
Caleb Williams.
And what if, we're seeing like Bryce Young sit the game, sit out the game, and Caleb Williams sitting out the game? I'm kind of just like, a little toss with USC tackling no shot they beat Bama, in my opinion. Yeah, USC does not know how
the
to
defense is why I don't have them in the top 10 because I'm just being completely frank, a pathetic performance. It was awful. You're playing in the championship game of your conference. If you win, you're in the playoff, and you're trying to tell me on a 3rd and 19 you can't wrap the guy up 6 yards short. You just touch his back and let him walk. Really? You got to get him down. That was just terrible. It's terrible.
Troy V says it would probably look like the Bama-Tennessee score with the last team to have the ball win. That I most certainly agree with. That's what I say Bama-USC would be. Will, did we get to your rankings yet? I guess not.
Not yet.
Oh my God.
USC is helping people to the end zone.
Where's your respect for Kansas State, Austin? That's what I'm wondering. Well, 7's a little too high for USC, though, buddy.
Does this shock anyone?
A little bit. I mean, he's always, talked about Utah higher than everybody else. I mean, when I had Utah at 13 last week, it was like I had him 25th. I mean, so, I guess Utah's a really, really solid team, but I have them ranked ahead of K-State, but, arguably K-State maybe should be higher. I don't know. It's tight either way. It's really tight either way, but I don't think they should be 6th, but if they didn't have that Florida loss, then you could argue they should be 6th. You can make an argument for it.
So,
yes, they did, Edward.
Yep. Once by 1 point, and the other time by 23.
And yet they're only one spot ahead of USC.
And they were both aired on Fox. So.
It's like, you know what? I'll just, when I get to mine, I'll let mine speak for itself, I guess. God, I freaking hate this. Will has Kansas State at 10, USC at 9, Utah at 8, Tennessee at 7, Cater Crapheads at 6.
I'm shocked Clemson's over Tennessee. Again, I can argue for Clemson over Tennessee with, Cade Klubnik all season, but we didn't get Cade Klubnik all season. So, and K-State below USC. I don't know.
I think, for me personally, looking at this, I think USC should be at 10 in this case. K-State at 8, Tennessee at 9, Clemson at 7, Utah at 6.
I don't know. Clemson had 2 pretty good losses. They lost to two top 20 teams. So, and Clemson lost way less bad to South Carolina than Tennessee did. So that's the reason that I have Clemson higher.
I agree. When I was saying my rankings, when I had Tennessee higher, I said that Tennessee's overall body of work was better than Clemson's because they did have the win over Alabama, which is better than anything Clemson's done. And they also won at LSU by 27. There's more on the resume than Clemson.
Well, and, to me, for example, Clemson's resume looks like garbage because, honestly, the conference they're in is garbage. They all suck.
Yes.
Your champion was either going to be Clemson with 2 or 3 losses, or North Carolina with 3 losses, 4 losses.
And that's why I was laughing when wasn't you, Jackson, talking about Notre Dame? They're the kings of the ACC because they beat the 2 best teams in the ACC. That's not the biggest compliment in the world this year.
True.
It's a big deal. Clemson again is shown with K Klubnik they're a solid team, but Notre Dame did beat them with him. So
Oh, I know.
I don't know. That's an interesting argument for sure.
It was.
I mean, Cade looked like a deer in headlights out there, so I don't know. I don't think he was ready.
Maybe it was the Irish magic, man. I mean, who
Yeah.
knows? It's kind of like the Stanford tree and
The
everything,
echoes,
man.
the echoes woke up, and they were
superstitions.
yelling in his ear, and he was like, I can't focus. I'm just gonna throw it to this guy. Oh wait, he's not on my team. Darn it.
But that the lack of big wins for Clemson this year are why I had Clemson very low in my rankings, like very low.
Is that all we got for Will?
Also, like that Kansas State loss to Texas is pretty bad.
Yeah,
That's
I
why
agree.
had
Tennessee
them
without
lower.
Hooker is bad, and Clemson with Cade is better. I agree with that. It's just, to me, with the rankings, you have to rank the teams by their overall body of work, not just because now Clemson has Cade Klubnik. That's on Dabo Swinney for not playing him. We can't evaluate that because we don't know what Clemson would have done with Cade Klubnik. With Tennessee, we know what they were with Hendon Hooker. Yes, he's gone, but what they did throughout the whole season with him still has to be, considered.
Valued.
Valued, yes. Mm.
Okay. We all good?
All right, now.
Good.
Oh, Jesus. USC at 10, K-State at 9, Tennessee at 8, Clemson at 7. The thing that's on my toilet paper at 6.
Oh, you got Alabama toilet paper? I didn't know you could get that.
Rudy.
Rudy.
Any questions?
We need to do a Rudy watch along together. I don't think we can put it on YouTube because we would get copyright strikes, but that would be fun.
I don't really dislike this ranking here at all. It's fine. It's good.
You don't think one team
I'm trying
should
to figure out who's 5. I don't know why my brain's not working. Oh, I know who it is now. Okay.
$1?
Oh, that you go to a store, man. They Alabama gear is expensive, man, because they know so many people want to buy it.
If they don't call it, they don't call it.
Uh-huh.
For that.
Yeah, just because they don't call something doesn't mean it wasn't, though.
All right.
Error.
This is the committee's rankings. I don't know how I missed this. Bama at 5, State at 4, TCU at 3.
Scum at 2.
That team at 2, Georgia at 1.
Hey, it's our boy.
There we go.
There he is.
You're all here. How's the internet, old buddy?
I guess not great because he can't talk to us.
Not very good. I lost power since 3 o'clock today. We had a big tornado storm.
Oh man!
Knocked all of our power out.
Just glad you're all right, man. That's terrible.
Hey, we're glad you're doing pretty good, man.
To Gerald's point, yes, the committee did get it right. I wasn't trying to say that.
Welcome the bird to teeth. Bird with teeth.
Welcome the bird with teeth. All right. So I guess we don't have anything to say on this one.
Nah.
Not at the moment.
Uh-oh. Jesus, what? Jeffrey
I don't
has
have anything to say about it because that's exactly what I got. I mean, again, Alabama, as Jackson has pointed out, that they're not impressive. And I can agree. I mean, there's an argument that they should be lower. But here's the thing, to use Austin's line, Alabama got help by other teams losing. Imagine if Tennessee did not lose to South Carolina. Imagine if Oregon didn't drop to Washington, Oregon State. Imagine if LSU hadn't lost to Texas A&M. Imagine if Clemson hadn't lost to South Carolina. It goes on and on and on. Alabama would be lower. Alabama moved up because those teams lost. It's as simple as that. Do I think Alabama should be fifth? No. But they're fifth because everybody else did not do their jobs. You had one job, as they always say on game day, you win. Teams ahead of Alabama did not win, so Alabama moved up by default. That's why I have them at number 5. Ohio State at number 4. I mean, I know that Buckeye Mike doesn't like it. He wants a rematch with the team up north. But, again, TCU, a 3-point loss in overtime to a top 10 team. Ohio State got blown out. So, to me, that's justifiable for Ohio State to be at 4. They deserve to be in because they only have 1 loss. Alabama has 2. That's why I said Ohio State was going to make the playoff. But TCU's loss is less bad. And then Michigan, Georgia, it explains itself. They're both undefeated. And Georgia, it's the SEC, a little bit better resume. They're going to put them at number 1. Simple as that for me.
So I have a question for everybody.
Mm-hmm. And I agree with that, but still TCU's loss was less bad as well, which made it easier for them to keep them at 3, even though I agree with your point, Gerald, for sure.
They obviously
oh man.
Are
it's
we
not
sure
gonna help
about that?
It's not gonna help with Jackson Smith and Jigba being out, not playing. That's gonna hurt them a little bit, but we'll see what Ohio State can give.
Yeah, it could be another 31-0 loss.
I mean,
that hamstring messing with Jigba, you know.
It could be ugly, or Ohio State could fight. We'll just have to see.
Do you think TCU was safe at 3 the whole time? Like, even though they didn't, they could have lost like 70-0 and still be number 3?
No, if they had a loss by a lot, they probably would have found a way to weasel them out and put Ohio State and Alabama in. I really believe that. I really do. If TCU had gotten blown out, there's a chance they'd have dropped out. That's why I was blown away when I was reading about on Twitter, which I try to avoid, by the way. But when TCU lost by 3, I was reading Alabama fans were like, oh, because obviously, technically, I'm an Alabama fan to an extent, and I'm reading the comments, and they're like, oh, Alabama's in now. We're in. I'm like, no, you're not. You're not in. I don't know how many times I have to explain it. TCU had to lose big for Alabama to have a shot. TCU did their job. They lost close. If you're going to lose, you had to lose close, and TCU looked darn well good doing it. So they were in. And to me, them losing close as well, and to avoid the rematch. But TCU's loss is not as bad as Ohio State's. And they did it in a conference championship game. That's why TCU is at 3.
I do want to touch on this. I joke about it, yes, but the difference is he gets crap from OSU fans, which he shouldn't, because we don't know the exact conversation that happened in that room with him and his doctor and his family. Maybe his doctor said you shouldn't play because it's known that he wants to play. But we don't know the conversation, so leave your personal opinions alone. Leave him alone. Only praise the man.
I will say that if it's one of those situations for me, if he's can play and he's not, then I'm not happy about it. But if he's not able to play, then, and if, like as Troy says, his doctors said he can't play, then I'm not upset at all. Because if he can't play, he can't play. That's fine. But it's one of those things like an opt-out. If you're opting out, that's wrong. But if you can't play, then I have nothing against Jackson Smith and Jigba. If you cannot play, you cannot play. No one should hold it against him. But it is what it is. It's just really going to hurt Ohio State because he's a great receiver. But
that's my point. Like, don't hold it against him if it's legit. Like,
yes.
And that's the thing. We will never know. So that's why I'm saying just leave it alone. Appreciate he was here. Enjoy what you had as a Buckeye fan with him. And just leave it alone.
Mm. Yes, TCU, you know, they're over Ohio. Yeah.
All right. So on to the next one. Really?
Uh-oh.
There we go.
Mm.
Jackson, Utah at 5, TCU at 4, Ohio State at 3, Michigan at 2, Georgia at 1.
How, man?
I'm that impressed with that Pac-12 title victory, and I'm impressed with the Oregon State victory by Utah.
Okay.
Secondly, I want an Ohio State-Michigan rematch. You know, I want to see that as a playoff game.
But let me ask you a question, Jackson. Do you think that Ohio State should be ahead of TCU? Do you think they should be? Not about what you want with a rematch. Should they be ahead?
Yeah.
Why?
Better wins.
Ohio State is better wins than TCU?
In a way.
Explain, please.
They got that big win over Penn State.
Mm-hmm.
They beat Notre Dame, who later beat two of the best teams in the ACC title game. And, you know, TCU's got that Kansas State win. Yeah, they got that Texas win. But other than that, you know, Texas did beat the Big 12 champs. But other than that, I don't really see that many big wins. I mean, like the Oklahoma win was a big win at the time, but then Oklahoma got worse over time. Kansas win was a big win, but then Kansas got worse over time.
That's true, but you got to imagine though. You got to imagine that you're talking about Ohio State's win over Penn State, and yes, that's a good win, and they beat Notre Dame. But how much different is Notre Dame from Texas?
Oh my gosh! I can't.
Nothing. There's no difference.
We're 2 touchdowns better.
There's no difference. And then you're talking about the records are the same. You're like the same in the rankings. The committee has them one apart, so that's not really different.
Well,
Plus you have TCU won at Texas, right?
yeah.
And Ohio State beat Notre Dame at
Yeah.
home. That's not as impressive. The other thing is TCU beat Kansas State, who is a champion of a conference, whereas Penn State is not a champion. So technically, TCU's wins are better, and their one loss is by 3 in overtime to the champion, where Ohio State's is by 22 at home.
True.
There's not actually comparable.
I just want to see that little Ohio State Michigan rematch badly.
And technically, this is true, but kind of. I think saw some of TCU had a strength of schedule better than Georgia, Michigan, and Ohio State. I kind of agree with that, except maybe Georgia. But yeah, TCU's 3. It's not argumentative.
Oh no.
Will having D4 PTSD. He's not here, Will. Notre Dame is better than Texas. Everything will be all right.
I didn't say that Texas was better than Notre Dame. I said they're on the same level. They're ranked one spot apart. They're both 8-4. TCU won at Texas. I mean, literally, what I just outlined, does anybody disagree with me that TCU should be 3? Anybody? I laid it out. The results are that TCU has a better overall resume than Ohio State.
Tell you the truth, I was like really torn where to put Ohio State and TCU. I was like, should I put Buckeyes at 3? Should I put them at 4? I'll just put them at 3.
It's your rankings, man. You're good. I just thought I'd lay out the spill of laying them both out, and to me, TCU's the winner. Even if I personally think Ohio State's the better team, but TCU's
Well,
resume
that's what
speaks
I
for
went
itself.
by, like Ohio State being better because like if they both play against one another,
Mhm.
I think Ohio State would beat.
But if you're using that logic, then Alabama's a better team than Utah. Same
yeah,
logic.
but Bama's got 2 losses. So
Utah's 3.
yeah, but Utah won their conference.
But it's not comparable, my friend. Come on, man. It's not comparable, my friend.
I have fun doing this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Man.
that's awesome, man. You're good, man. Just Ohio State at 3 for you, TCU for me at 3. There you go.
Man, we're gonna be rocking around the clock talking about it, ladies and gentlemen.
To answer Hummus Hero's response, yes, I've convinced myself that I'm okay with it. Yes, they deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to see if there'll be an Ohio State-Michigan rematch in the national title.
All Ohio State's got to do is take down those Bulldogs, and all Michigan's got to do is beat the Horned Frog, and you will get it.
I will say this, that yes, Georgia's powerful and explosive, but they're not as good as they were last year. So if you want to reference last year, this is somewhat of a different team compared to last year.
Nobody was as good this year as they were last year, really. The only team that you can make an argument's better is possible just Michigan, because from last year, but like as at the top, the teams at the top are worse this year than last year's teams.
Mark
Sorry,
Edwards
Mark.
says
I
Michigan
disagree.
has got it this year, national championship time. Connor Johnson says the heroine of a Middle Eastern chickpea dish speaks a lot. Who's the heroine of a Middle Eastern chickpea?
Buckeye?
The heroine.
Talking about a Buckeye.
Huh?
Is that what a Buckeye? I don't know.
We don't look like heroines to me. We don't look like heroines right now.
So on to the next one.
Jim Leonard is leaving Wisconsin after the bowl game.
Of course, Luke Fickle's coming.
I thought he was going to stay with the Wisconsin staff as assistant head coach or something.
What in the world is going on? Oh my God. Okay. Now that you're here, Austin, your turn.
Oh, by the way, thank you for breaking the news to us, Edward. I appreciate it.
Hummus is a Middle Eastern chickpea dish. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Austin.
Georgia had 8 guys get drafted in NFL last year. Georgia defense is not as good as last year, but the offense seems to be peaking now.
No, you're not, Connor.
We're not going to ignore you, Connor Johnson. You're awesome, man.
So Austin has Alabama at 5, Ohio State at 4. Okay. TCU at 3. He has it like the committee.
And me. I mean, it again, like I said, since he's not here to talk about it again, just it speaks for itself.
Let's see. Edward said it was first reported that Fickle was keeping him as defensive coordinator, but that was a lie. Oh, kind of like Adam Schefter's reporting on Aaron Rodgers in 2021 and Tom Brady's retirement 2022. Good Lord.
And Will has it like the committee.
Mm-hmm.
So, Will, did you put TCU ahead of Ohio State for the reasons that I said?
Yeah, I don't have much to add.
Mm-hmm. I didn't mean to take all the thunder. I'm sorry, man. I just laying it out thick for Jackson here.
Right.
Well, I'm glad you took it out on him.
No, you're good. I was trying to keep it cool, man. We know why you got him third, man. You want that rematch. There's a little bit of bias in there, man.
There is.
Bama is not a great team. Recency bias confidence has infected everyone's mind thanks to the ESPN, ABC propaganda and the media. Bama is a top 10 team, maybe. Again, agree with you there. I don't think they're 5th, but the resumes, unfortunately, got propped up by all those other teams losing, as I stated earlier, because Alabama would have been around 9th if all the teams had a 1 that were ahead of them.
Troy, to answer your question, no. They gave it to him, as I explained earlier. Georgia's the number one team. They're the defending champs, and he is in the playoff. So he is playing for a national title. Because if you look again at the history from 97 to now, there's only about 3 or 4 Heisman winners that did not play for the national title, but still won the Heisman, aka RG3, Lamar Jackson, Johnny Cash football.
I agree with you 100%, Buck. That's absolutely right.
Perfect analogy. Have y'all gotten double-digit eyeballs yet? It's been hanging around 9 for a while. I wouldn't be here for it. What?
He's talking about our viewers. I think we cracked 10 for brief. It was like a couple seconds, and then it went back to 9.
Yeah. Nick Saban should be embarrassed, and the fans should be hiding for the rest of the CFP playoff. And how the F did get airtime on Fox, ESPN's nemesis.
Well, he went on the Fox halftime show during the big
Bag.
title game, and he went on the Late Show on Sports Center on ESPN to campaign for why Alabama should get in the playoffs this year.
Hummus Hero, I disagree with your comment because it's with him staying, it's slowly bringing back the 10-year war. I don't like it, but who honestly likes it when they play their rival and their team always loses anyway?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I guess you're right.
The 4 panel.
But
now it's the 5, I guess, if Austin's still here.
He's still here. That 40-year-old dude shouldn't be there, period. For a couple seconds, LOL, Jeffrey cracks me up sometimes. He's a funny guy. What can I say?
Thanks, Connor Johnson.
Due to a mutation, I have 3 eyeballs, so that makes it double digits. Someone was really trolling Saban the other night going on TV saying, "Did you see us against Austin Peay?
You should have beat him by 50-0, not 34-0.
Troy V says Saban did what he was supposed to do, campaign for his team. I don't agree with his arguments, but he did what he should have. I agree. I'm happy he did it.
Because Saban is Fox's daddy. Fox has to let daddy on TV.
What do you suppose is true that came out of my mouth? The Heisman thing or the 10-year war thing?
I completely agree with the Heisman. That's 100% spot on. Couldn't have said it any better.
Yeah, because I mean, like, okay, if you don't send Stetson Bennett, who are you going to send? You can't send Bryce Young because he missed a game and a half. Can't send.
We don't. Yeah,
I think they should have sent Brock Bowers instead of Stetson.
Yeah, but Brock Bowers only had like 500 yards or something. His stats don't add up.
Yeah. A tight end would have to have like almost 1,000 yards to make it at all, to have any shot. Probably 1,000 yards.
And if you want to send a defensive player, it's going to have stats like Chucky did back in 97.
Connor Johnson asked if we talked about Coach Prime yet.
We're going to do a coaching carousel stream eventually, right, guys?
Absolutely.
Eventually.
We're going to do the coaching carousel video.
Carousel. We'll talk about all of it.
Mark Edwards says, I have an interesting fact. In the 24 times in college football. 2 teams have played one another. The record is now 18-7 in favor of the loser of the first game to win the second. In regards to the Ohio State-Michigan rematch. Good job, guys. A lot of fun later.
Later,
Who's-
Gerald.
For being here.
Who's the best transfer portal QB?
I'm gonna
Not
say
DJ.
if you're talking about who will be, it's gonna be Cade McNamara at Iowa next year.
I think JT Daniels is a bit better, in my opinion.
Well,
And I was kidding on
How?
DJ because I know that would be like Buckeye Mike's line right there. It's not DJ.
The mailman, 40-year-old mailman. Well, you know he doesn't look 40 now. He shaved his head, which apparently transforms him from Stetson Bennett to
so
Quavius.
Edward, you didn't mention Michael Penix Jr., man. That's the nation leader in passing yards.
Now, I think instead of Stetson, you should have sent the guy that's named first.
Bijan Robinson.
Yeah, buddy. Was able to get into Eric All's head. 2 captains going. Oh, he's going to Iowa. Okay. Last I heard, it was up in the air.
McNamara is going to get ruined by Brian Ferentz next year if he's still there.
He only has 2 more Power 5 conferences to go. JT, that is.
Yeah.
That is exactly why JT is a boss.
Yeah, he's only got
He's on a
the
bad team. If he had a decent O line,
You better be glad Joey Foster's not here.
yeah,
Brokeback
JT I
Mountain
think is
now
going to be a
playing at Iowa.
star if he gets put on a decent team.
I don't know, man.
Like, imagine Cade on that team. Cade would have not done anything. Like, they would have lost.
Well,
probably.
I mean, I don't know. From what I remember from JT Daniels, the backup at West Virginia is on a different level and actually better than JT, in my opinion. Maybe I need to go watch more film, but I just feel like JT's. I mean, he's good enough to be a starter somewhere, obviously, because he was twice or no, 3 times.
Yeah, he was a starter at Georgia for a brief.
Yeah, 3 times.
Mm.
So he's obviously decent enough to be a starter, but he doesn't have the proper things needed, the abilities, as they both were hurt all season this year with back issues.
All right.
All right, gentlemen.
Talk about anything else, or
well, I just want to let everybody know, which is kind of stupid to tell everybody because there's only 8 plus the 5 of us in here. Come back Thursday because we don't know exactly what we're going to break down. We're going to talk about Army Navy, though. We're going to give our Heisman finish predictions, like who's going to win it and who is going to finish where. And I don't know. We've been talking about doing a test drive for a call-in show, so maybe we'll test it and take a few calls. Just depends on how many people are in here. But that call-in show is definitely on the horizon, just so everybody knows. So yeah, come back Thursday and.
Oh, Mark Edwards asked if any of us guys watched TCU follow them, as he only saw Kansas State. TCU would most certainly do. Connor Johnson asked, with primetime in the Pac, does the Pac-12 have the best head coach? Well, the Big Ten may have something to say about that. The SEC's got something to say about that too.
I think I don't know. I think Justin Wilcox is still a pretty mediocre coach. He's really the only one I would say isn't good. So
What do you mean? I don't hardly go on there anymore.
Oh no, I'll call you guys so freaking hard my socks will fall off. I'm sure he will, Connor.
Big Ten is very good now. I don't know much about rule. Well, he did a great
He did
job.
very well at Baylor and Temple.
Yeah, and he didn't even have any. He wasn't even familiar with the state of Texas. Yeah, he did a great job recruiting the state of Texas at Baylor. Imagine what he can do at Nebraska. There are some fantastic things going on at Nebraska in their future.
Yes, there are changes a coming over the horizon for the cruddy Corn Huskies.
I'll tell you what, though, that Nebraska-Colorado game is going to be really fun next year. We have zero clue what Dion will do yet.
Yeah, I mean, he just has to put a good coaching staff together, and he'll do well. But it's easier to be said than done.
Well, he's got Sean Lewis, who's a head coach on the rise, who decided to go be an offensive coordinator at Colorado. So
to me, this would have been better. I don't know if you guys would agree with this, but what if Deion Sanders had gotten the head coaching job like 2 or 3 years ago at Colorado when the Pac-12 was bad? You know what I'm saying? That would have been even better, because now the Pac-12's improved. It's going to be tougher to climb the ladder. He can do it, but it would have been easier for Colorado to become better quicker when the Pac-12 was rough 2 or 3 years ago.
Well, with USC, UCLA leaving, it'll make things a little bit easier.
True.
Because, I mean,
for now,
depending on how long Kyle Whittingham's going to stay at Utah, we don't know when he's going to retire.
Mm-hmm.
So
that man is the same situation as Saban. Saban will not leave until he either dies on the sideline, which we all hope that he doesn't realistically, or he medically cannot coach anymore, aka Urban Meyer, but it's not going to be a step away and then come back.
Well, I don't know. I think he knows that he's losing it a bit from this year, so maybe in like 2 years he'll retire. Maybe like after the next 2, I think.
Yeah,
because like the discipline isn't there. So
yeah.
Jordan and Bird did it. What do you mean? They were never coaches. They own. Well, no, Larry Bird was a coach. Michael Jordan never was. He's an owner. So that's a difference.
But, and Coach Sanders, he was able to get 5-star. He was able to get 1 or 2 5-star recruits from Florida State and get them over to Jackson State. And there's like a big water crisis in Jackson, Mississippi. Imagine what he can do at Colorado. He's going to get a lot of 5-star recruits coming over to Colorado.
Dang it.
The world at Boulder, Colorado is going to be all his, man. He's got a beautiful future ahead of him.
I think a lot of coaches would be all right if they hired good coordinators. I mean, that's the problem. I mean,
you could say that about anyone.
I mean, coaches, look at Ed O. I mean, LSU wins the title with great players, great coordinators, and then they just tank when it all goes down. Indiana had Michael Penix. You had 2 great coordinators, and then they leave, and then they stink. So a lot of coaches are propped up by coordinators, yes.
Sure. Coach O looks like the dad from Young Sheldon.
Oh, God.
They sound alike, too. They're more like twin brothers, I think.
Is his last name Orgeron?
No, but he's easier to understand than Coach O.
It's easier to understand. There is word that maybe Coach O ended up being an assistant at Miami under what's his name?
Mario Cristobal.
Under Cristobal.
I mean, there's a lot of hot girls at Miami, so maybe I don't know.
Maybe, yeah. Well, and it's easier to win
Florida, man. What the heck?
And it's easier to win the Coastal Division over there.
Mm-hmm. I can't believe that they've only won 1 Coastal Division title since they've been to the ACC. That's so embarrassing.
Well, He'll get more. He'll get more 5 stars. No worries. He's gonna get some 5 stars.
Spoiled rich kids.
Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, there's like a lot of people that live around me that go to Colorado. So it's interesting. Yeah, and they're usually they're wealthier kids at my school too.
Oh yeah.
All
I
right,
mean, I
Jimmy.
just don't know. I just don't know if Cal cares that much to put in the money to hire a good coordinator.
That's
so.
kind of the problem with a lot of schools that stink in football is because they don't put money into it. I mean, AK Vanderbilt, AK Indiana, AK Northwestern. I mean, that's the whole entire problem.
Yeah.
Money.
Well, yeah, and we don't know how long Dan Lanning's gonna stay at Oregon. We know Jonathan.
Well, Oregon will pay Dan to stay if he's considering leaving for money.
Well,
with Uncle Phil.
Money.
Uncle Phil's money.
Oh yeah.
You talking about the Cordell Stewart game?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a crazy Hail Mary.
Oh yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, Michigan, Colorado, where he was like at the 40 or something and chucked it. And
yeah, it's like Doug Flutie
Colorado
with Boston
Michigan.
College.
Yeah,
Doug
similar,
Flutie with
same
Boston
idea.
College, man. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean,
1984.
Same idea. Cordell wasn't that good with the Steelers, but I feel like Cordell would have done better if he would have played now because he was kind of ahead of his time with the mobile quarterback.
I know the backstory of Telluride Co., but this isn't the History Channel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was before my time, but it's shown enough on like the ESPN networks and UTN to.
That's true.
Got to teach history to us kids, man. You know.
Oh yes.
Yes, all the time. What do you think is in the containers behind me? A bunch of old games that have already aired.
I watched
New
them
and
on
old.
YouTube. I got some VHS tapes of them and some DVDs of them. So yeah, most certainly did.
Yeah, I was watching the 1987 Notre Dame Michigan game on the way when I was working out.
Look up here, Lorenzen. Dude was a beast, Rip. The real
I think
savior.
I'm good.
He was a big guy.
Will knows about Cordell with the Steelers. That's pretty impressive. Yeah, I don't think I was alive to watch him, but I know of him. I know that he did play for the Steelers, and not just because Will just said it a few minutes ago.
Yeah, we'll have to check out some of these, man, for sure.
Colorado State.
I was just kidding when I said earlier.
My life could have.
Hold
Hold
I know
on.
how the game goes, and it's not good for my Irish.
Hey, Will, you should watch. Hey, I have it,
Yeah.
and I've already watched it.
Oh my gosh.
Impressive win by the Beavers. Although, who in the world was the quarterback for Notre Dame? Like, literally, what I mean is he was a nobody.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. What was it? Jarius Jackson or was it Carlisle Holiday? It was one of those two.
No, it was hold on.
In that game.
Chad Ochocinco. Oh yeah, they most certainly were, man.
Matt Lavecchio. Yeah, I think it was 95. Ocho Cinco. Now, that there was one touchdown he had that was really good, I thought. Duh, they were dudes the whole time.
You guys need some controversy to spice it up. A couple of drunk or delusional comments.
Well,
Oh
if we
man.
get an SEC homer, that won't be no problem.
Come
Yeah.
on, Austin. No.
Oh, I didn't say no names, but we all know who I'm talking about.
That's why he said that.
No.
Maybe talk about the 1984 BYU team. People seem to like that.
No.
If we're gonna, I'll tell you this much right now. If we talk about it here, here's what we're going to say. BYU did not win the 1984 national championship. They shouldn't have because they didn't. They didn't deserve it.
Washington should have won it instead. Washington was the best team that year.
I'm not hiding.
Besides Jackson, yeah, they are
they're-
hiding.
Jackson Muir, cool.
Whoa,
Or better yet, let's get some on here. And Buckeye Mike and some Michigan fans can go at it.
Hey, Austin, you just want us to get taken down, man. It might be get a little too heated.
We'll blow up over the internet overnight.
Hey, we're already at 11, man. Come on.
Austin's been here this whole time. Yeah. 4-team SEC, 4 SEC team playoff. Can't believe the SEC got you.
We're up to double digits, boys. We're up to 10 again. Let's go.
Oh yeah.
Fans are Mayo Tahapia. Finnish word for being embarrassed for someone else's embarrassing act.
Hey,
Yeah.
Austin, were you here the whole time?
I didn't see him down there.
I think Tennessee fans are worse, though, than Bama fans.
Uncle Lou's right on that. Tennessee fans are worse than Bama fans. They're both bad, though.
I don't know. That
They
could be
threw stuff
debated.
on the field. They did throw stuff on the field, in the Ole Miss game.
Yeah, they were like throwing beers and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, that was not a pretty scene. That game in general is not pretty, man. All the laying on the field and acting hurt. Game lasted like 5.5 hours.
I mean, that's just wasting good beer, man. Come on.
I think they did drink it first, though.
Hey, everybody. It's the real MVP. How you doing today, Mark? My Wildcats are really going to be good this year.
Sounds like the Browns fans. We got one right here in Buckeye Mike. Philly sports fans are the worst. Pretty sure they booed Santa Claus.
Yeah, they're bad. Philly fans are bad.
Oh yeah, they threw
I agree with
batteries
you.
at the Eagles at one point.
And here's the thing that's funny about it. I'm a Cowboys fan, so I know.
Yeah, you guys are right
It's
behind
America's
them.
team, man.
You guys aren't too good either.
Remember, like before EDP went on that like big downfall, looking for a cupcake, which wasn't a cupcake. Like this is like a few years before, right? This is when like the Cowboys were playing in their division game, right? A divisional playoff game against the Packers. He's like celebrating the Packers beating up on the Cowboys. So he gets like a Cowboys jersey, gets out of his bag, and he wipes it like it's like toilet paper. Yeah, he's just wiping his nasty himself all over it. But then he gets a
Tennessee
hat.
fans had 1 year, and now they are a powerhouse and natty winners. But wait, they didn't make it.
I mean that's I mean, you know, I'm just kind of like they let that guy have a platform again.
It's okay.
At least you're not Philly fans, man. Those are, oh Lord. I mean, Hummus here, if you ever want to talk Philly, wait until you see like Steelers fans. Like, you know, 1 year they were like fighting with each other when they were like, oh, too much drink there, partner.
Bring out your dead. Ohio State better show up.
Oh, Eagles fans threw snowballs at Santa. Oh man, you don't do that to Santa Claus. You don't do that. And made him fall sick, people. Good Lord, man. I'm a Falcons fan. Was a Falcons fan. Tom Brady took that from me.
You let one guy take it from you?
Dang. But yeah, I mean, good Lord. And people complain about not selling alcohol at college football games. Holy crap, tunnel. Instant to the power of a Googleplex. Sadly, our teams won't meet in the bowls. That's you, Austin.
I think Austin's kind of happy because he didn't like it. He thought you were calling him out.
28-3. Oh, you're talking about Super Bowl 51? Yeah.
Yep. Where the MVP would have showed up, Falcons would have won that game.
It was
easily.
so funny on that game because I was at somebody's house, man, and like everybody there was like going for the Falcons in that game, and I was like just picking Brady, you know, I was just like, go Brady. I was like being the odd man out on purpose, you know what I'm saying? And everybody was like, oh, look, it's 28-3. I can't believe the Brady's going to lose, and you're the only one going for Brady. And then they came back and won. And they just all collapsed, man. I was like, I was just laughing so hard. It was so funny.
Penn State, Utah, best bowl game outside of CFP. Yeah.
All right, hands down. There is your comment of the night.
Oh, there you go, man.
That's the comment of the night.
He's never been the same.
No. He's only won one playoff game since.
What do you guys think? Best bowl game outside of the playoff?
I'm thinking I'm liking the Cotton Bowl between USC and Tulane because, you know, Utah's going to beat Penn State in the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, that Vegas Bowl, I'm liking that one, Connor. Jerry Glanville is a friend of my family. Went to school across the river where my dad grew. Oh, man, that's pretty cool. As far as I recall, he says something about how the NFL is the not-for-long league, right? I think that's what he is.
Well, it usually isn't for long, but then you have weirdo idiots like Tom Brady that come in and it's like, oh, yeah, I'm playing for 20 years.
Plus.
That's right. Mark Edwards, that's right. That's right. Jay Glanville did say that, the NFL being the not-for-long. Honestly, I think Bama Kansas State's going to be a little better. I don't think you're going to see any of the Kansas State guys sitting out, you know, against
Not
Bama.
as many, or if at all, yeah, for sure.
And it would not surprise me if they beat the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Do you think Bryce Young plays?
It's a 50-50 decision.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he's playing or not. But
I would almost, if I was a betting man, which I'm not, and had money to bet, which I don't, I would almost put money on Bryce and Will Anderson not playing.
If they don't play, there is a really good chance K-State wins.
Yeah. Oh, we also have our eyes on the Orange Bowl.
The all Orange Bowl.
Yeah,
Clemson in Tennessee.
And I believe you're talking about the Alamo Bowl between Texas and Washington.
Florida won't have AR-15 or half the team because of portal. So, well, they already sucked anyway. So,
except when they beat Utah.
That was a fluke.
Week 1.
Mm-hmm.
Chalk it up to week 1.
Oh, there are reports that Young and Anderson opting out. Ooh.
A lame Tennessee team and an overrated ACC team. Not going to be pretty long. It's tough to call a good bowl game. Guessing there will be a lot of opt-outs, which will diminish what should have been good games.
This right here is what's so frustrating about college football right now because, I mean, you think about all the classic bowl games from the past, and now, like last year, the best bowl game was Tennessee-Purdue. You know what I'm saying? That's not good for college football, that Tennessee-Purdue is the best bowl game. You're supposed to be excited for the New Year's Day games, and unfortunately, the games are being diminished by the opt-outs. I know why they are doing it, but it's frustrating because, like, as everyone's saying, it's tough to even know what's a good bowl game anymore, what's going to be a good bowl game. You just have to watch and, I guess, hope
I'm
they're
pretty
good.
excited about the Fenway Bowl, because, like, that's going to be an old rivalry coming back. And there's a big storyline about, like, Scott Satterfield, he was going to be coaching Louisville, but then he's not even going to coach against Cincinnati because he's going to Cincinnati.
Well, see, there was a running joke on that about
Talk about sleeping with the enemy, man.
there was a running joke about him running back and forth between the sidelines coaching both teams at the same time. Said the blind man.
Yep.
Can't see Utah and Penn State being anything but awesome.
Utah's gonna
Definitely.
beat them. Cam Rice is gonna have a great game. And any more thoughts we want? Oh, Tulane, USC. USC's probably gonna have some guys opting out, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But Tulane's gonna bring their A game. I hope personally it goes from they go from 2 wins to 12 wins. Because right now they're at 11 wins. And
Opt-outs are making it possible.
True. I'll be pulling for Tulane personally.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be as much of a yawn as Mark says. Tulane 10, USC 102.
Yeah. Any more final thoughts before we say goodnight to the audience?
Just come back Thursday. See you all then.
It's going to be a fun show.
Fun stream, guys. Thanks for being here.
Have a good night, guys.